Inside the stories that affect you. This is Inside KELOLAND.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Don Jorgensen. This week on Inside KELOLAND, we are looking at a variety of topics, including heart health, summer jobs, and ways that you can give back to your community. This half hour, we're going to sit down with the Sioux Falls Parks and Rec Department as they gear up for the summer season, what it takes to fill seasonal jobs, and what the department is doing to attract more workers. Plus, whether it's your time or money, local organizations rely on your contributions to help others in the community. Look at ways that you can help fill a need coming up. And a local production company is taking viewers to new heights in an upcoming documentary. Hear from the makers of Vertical Freedom and what it takes to tell the story of tower climbers. But first off, February is American Heart Month. Nearly 60 years after it was first designated by President Lyndon B. Johnson, new data shows that the month is more important than ever. Joining me now is Chrissy Meyer with the American Heart Association. Chrissy, thanks for being with us. You say that this month is more important than ever. How so? What are you seeing right now?
So the last 2 years have been kind of rough on all of us. And one of the things that we've seen definitely is that heart disease and stroke have not taken a break. And in fact, deaths from heart disease and stroke are on the rise right now. And while these have always long been our #1 killers, right now we're seeing that kind of the compound effects of COVID-19 are setting us up for a future where heart disease and stroke prevalence are maybe higher than we've ever imagined.
How is COVID-19 impacting heart health?
Well, first of all, you have the virus itself, and we know that even if you had a very mild case of COVID-19, it can have a long-term effect on your heart and brain health. We're just beginning to understand that, and there's ongoing research to understand it better. But then on top of that, even if you didn't have the virus, we all had a big change in our lives over the last couple of years. And many of us were eating a little bit less healthy. We were not keeping up our gym habits, maybe not being able to, either our gyms were closed or we just weren't, getting the exercise we need. I know me personally, I drank a little bit more red wine over the last couple of years, and that's probably not the best for your heart. There's all those things, and they all kind of combine to create a very, an increased risk factor picture, so to speak. And so because we need to kind of reclaim your rhythm on those heart healthy habits, let's get back into eating a little healthier, back into moving more. That way we can kind of have a better impact.
Give us some subtle tips on how we can get back into that rhythm.
Yeah, so there's really just small things, and that's the nice thing about it, is that little decisions, little habits that you do every day can add up to a much bigger impact. So for example, when it comes to nutrition and eating, cook more at home. When you are the chef, you have a lot of control over what goes on the plate. We tend to eat a lot more fruits and vegetables when we eat at home. Plus, eating together with our family reduces stress, and we know that stress is a big piece of the heart disease puzzle as well. So, just eating at home more often is a big part of that. Moving more, we talk about, increasing our activity. You don't need to be a marathon runner, but just going for a walk after dinner or taking a few breaks. Many of us are still working at home. Take a few breaks throughout your day. Go out, go for a walk around the block. And when the weather's nicer, make sure that you're parking a little bit further away from the door. It's those little things and little activities and habits that you can work into your day that really add up to a lot of difference for your heart.
You do not have to worry about me becoming a marathon runner. But it is nice to get out and walk around the parks, maybe take your dog for a walk.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing, is we know that pets are a very positive influence on our life. And so just like you said, getting out, taking your dog for a walk, or even taking a little break during the day to cuddle up with that dog, it relieves stress, and that's a big piece of the picture.
We just recognized Wear Red for Women Day this past Friday. Are women more susceptible to heart disease?
Certainly in a lot of ways, women have some unique risk factors for heart disease and stroke. The biggest thing to remember is that it is still the #1 killer of women. And the Go Red for Women movement was started back in 2004 because at that time, more women than men were dying of heart disease. Yet only 1 in 5 women knew that it was her greatest health threat. And so with the Go Red for Women movement and days like National Wear Red Day this week, we're trying to raise that awareness of the fact that heart disease is the #1 health threat against women. We're also trying to raise those vital funds for the research that we need to better understand the differences between men and women and to also educate healthcare providers about how to spot heart disease in women and how to treat them differently.
What are some of the habits that we should probably change in our lifestyle? I know we talked a little bit about food intake, but are there any others?
You know, there's a couple other things that are super important. Number one, tobacco use. If you are a smoker or use smokeless tobacco or vaping, that is the number one controllable risk factor for many diseases, including heart disease and stroke. So quitting tobacco is a huge one. Another big one is controlling your blood pressure. That's the second controllable risk factor for heart disease and stroke. So make an appointment, see your healthcare provider, get your blood pressure checked, and if it's out of whack, make a plan with your healthcare provider to get it under control.
That was a question, a follow-up question to that. How often should you have your heart checked or your blood pressure taken?
You know, we recommend, just like the federal government, you know, we're all recommending once a year you get in and have that wellness check, whether it's your well woman exam or, you know, just a physical with your doctor. Get in once a year and get that checkup. And then, you know, you'll have your blood pressure, hopefully your cholesterol checked. And then if your healthcare provider says, you know, we do need to kind of monitor that blood pressure. Some people, they need to monitor it several times a day. Some people once a day, once a week. It just depends on your unique risk factors. But having that initial conversation during that preventative health visit is kind of the key.
Okay, anything else, Chrissy?
The biggest thing is if you want to learn more about how to take care of your health, there is a great website, heart.org. And you can go out there, yep, very easy to remember. You can go out there and learn about many heart health conditions and also some of these prevention strategies that we've talked about.
Thank you so much for being on Inside KELOLAND.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Well, coming up next, the city of Sioux Falls is looking ahead to the summer and seasonal jobs. What's new, including pay raises, just after the break. Welcome back. It might still be winter, but the Sioux Falls Park and Recreation Department is already busy working to fill hundreds of summer positions. Joining me now is Jean Pearson, the Recreation Program Coordinator for the City of Sioux Falls. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate it. A lot of places are struggling to find workers right now. Where are you guys sitting?
I would hope to say that we're sitting pretty well in a good spot going into summer. We are a full-fledged hiring season for us. I mean, we are hiring for recreation positions, we're hiring for forestry positions, and we're hiring for our park maintenance positions as well. So anybody in our department would tell you that we are fully on board hiring for summer.
And we've already seen this worker shortage the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything from that? What were you able to take away from that in the hiring process?
I think all of us, all the hiring managers are trying to be as flexible as we possibly can with the people that are walking in looking for positions with us. We're also very fortunate that we're going to be able to pay them a little bit more this summer. That was not something that was not on the table. We looked at that last year. We were able to raise our hourly rate of pay for our seasonal employees last summer, and we were able to do that again this summer. And I think that that truly has brought more people in the door to be able to provide the services that we do every year for the people of Sioux Falls.
What was the hourly wage and what is it now then?
Last year, like for lifeguards last year, we were able to pay them $14 an hour. Now this summer they'll start at $16.
$16 an hour.
Yeah.
And what kind of positions are you looking for? Obviously lifeguards, but you're operational wise for the Parks and Rec Department. What kind of things?
Well, we've got positions in our playgrounds for the summer and at our community centers. Obviously, pools will be a big fill for us. And then also on the operations side, people that will want to mow lawns, work at a pool on the maintenance side, on the back side of the pools, people that work at ball field maintenance, work on the forestry crew. So there's a little bit of everything available in our department, whether it's on recreation or operations.
You know, how much experience do you need when you talk about working at a ball field? I mean, obviously you want somebody who's kind of familiar with that, but I would imagine there's some training involved.
Absolutely. There is training provided for all of our positions. So even if it's something that you don't have any knowledge in, but you're interested in, we have the people that are experts in those areas and are willing to onboard those new people and teach them a new skill.
Now, what age group are you looking for?
For lifeguards, we can start as young as 15. Community centers, playgrounds, those two would start at 15, and then on operations they need to be 18 to start a position in that area.
And with the maintenance of ball fields and maybe some of the parks, there'll be some machinery. involved?
Right. Light machinery is weed whacker, I guess. You know, they're chainsaws, maybe. We're dipping into areas that I'm not entirely familiar with, but I know, like, the folks that work around our pools, especially, you know, if they've got there's trimming that needs to be done, push mowing that needs to be done. There's some riding mowers. So yeah, there is safety maintenance that all of the team goes through prior to starting in the field. We do quite a bit of onboarding in that regard because we want our people to be safe. We want them to use equipment safely and to have a very productive summer. And
you've already started the hiring process back in December already.
Right.
Why did you decide to get such an early head start on it?
Well, when you don't, I'm looking for about 125 lifeguards, and it takes a while to interview that many people, and lifeguarding's not for everybody, and so there's some cross-training that might have to happen, or cross-selling. You know, it's like, well, maybe not lifeguarding, but maybe you'd want to be a pool cashier, or maybe you'd want to work at the indoor pool versus working in an outdoor pool. So there's that educational piece that I spend some time doing, but at the end of the day, you know, if kids are home for like holiday break, that's a great time to capture them. And if they know that they're looking for a summer job and we can get that process started in December or early in January, why not? So yeah, I hit the ground running late December, early January, and we'll continue that until pools open on June 3rd.
Did you run into problems last year? And that's why you...
Yeah, well, coming out of COVID, just didn't really know how much people wanted to work, how comfortable they were going to be wanting to work. But typically I start my hiring season, if it's not in December, it's right away in January, because there's a lot of positions to fill. And if you can capture people in walk-in interviews or catch them when they're on break, that does afford us a little bit of opportunity that maybe other people don't take advantage of. But we really try to tap into when kids are going to be away from school and they have time to come in and visit with us about any potential job, whether it's recreation or operations.
I was going to ask you, like, when you say summer months, seasonal jobs, when do they start and when do they end?
Well, for recreation, most of those positions will start mid-May or late May, depending on what field of recreation they're going to be in. But then for our operations people, for the long term, those start in April and will run all the way to October. And then the short term will run in May and then end in August. So depending on what people's availability is, they can get some hours in early April, May, depending on what they can do. And parks are ready to get going in April. I mean, we've got winter cleanup to do, right. And we've got, you know, if we've got rain, then we've got mowing to do.
And in 30 seconds that we have left, how can people apply? Can they apply online?
They can absolutely apply online, and we have all of our positions available online at SiouxFallsParks.org.
Okay, Jean, thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And good luck in the hiring process. Well, whether you are looking for a job in Sioux Falls or other parts of South Dakota, a good resource is our KELOLAND employment page. You can easily select which side of the state you want to search, or you can also filter based on town and industry. It also has a list of coming in career events, and you can find the employment site on our homepage on KELOLAND.com. Well, a sign that businesses across KELOLAND are busy and rely on their workforce, Rapid City is breaking sales tax records in 2021, with 1 month still left to count. KELOLAND's Sydney Thorson reports.
Whether it's tourists or locals, businesses across town will tell you they've seen more people in their stores.
We're blessed here because tourism is the nature of our store, most typically. But we love our Rapid City folks. We're kind of gearing up, changing inventories around to welcome more growth that we've seen right here in Rapid City. And that's been exciting. You can see that just about on every corner down here.
The Alex Johnson Mercantile has been in Rapid City for years. Owner Jennifer Johnson says they've never been quite as busy as last year.
I retired the end of May last summer just so I could help down here.
From January to November of last year, the sales tax receipt numbers are at a 19% increase versus 2020 during that time. The city already broke the sales tax record in 2021 at over $32 million, with 1 month left to count.
That's unprecedented numbers. That's uncharted territory to have that level. I mean, you might see it from 1 month to another, but to have it all grouped together and have a 19% increase in sales tax receipts over that 11-month period, it's quite astounding.
Daryl Shoemaker is the communications manager for the city and says this is great news.
What does that mean for the future? It just means we need to keep our eye on the ball. We need to keep working to meet the demand. We're excited because it means that more people are coming to the area, whether it's to visit or to live here. We're excited to meet that challenge.
In Rapid City, Sydney Thorson, KELOLAND News.
We are going to take a quick break. Coming up next, though, an organization designed to help foster families thrive needs your assistance. Find out how a few hours of your time can go a long way. Welcome back to Inside KELOLAND. We are looking at ways local organizations are helping people in the community and ways that you can get involved. First off, an upcoming event aims to address food insecurity and accessibility in Sioux Falls. KELOLAND's Sarah McDonald shows us how the pop-up grocery store will work.
Employees are filling the shelves at Fair Market this morning, getting ready for a busy day of customers. The salvage grocery store sells shelf-stable items that were refused or returned to mainstream retail for multiple reasons.
Seasonal damage, slightly past date, sizing, ounces has changed, whatnot. And then we sell it for markdown, about half of what big box would sell it for. And so it's a way to keep it out of the landfill and give people a good deal.
But on February 16th, Johnson will be taking some of that food to the Multicultural Center as part of a pop-up grocery store event.
We're going to rent a U-Haul, fill it up with food, and bring it over there as we're pricing everything for our shelves. We're pulling and just filling boxes, and so I will show up with a U-Haul of food and we'll reset up.
The reason the event is being held at the Multicultural Center is twofold.
We wanted to educate more folks about where we're located and what services we offer, so bringing them in that way. And then we also wanted to serve the population of the area that we live in, which is very socioeconomically diverse. So we wanted to just give them some options for affordable groceries.
Whitman says that Smithfield is also donating meat to the event. Each purchase will include a package of meat.
Then I actually found out this morning that we're going to partner with South Dakota Urban Indian Health as well and offer a vaccine clinic from 2 to 4.
The hope is to continue to do events like this each month.
We really aren't sure what to expect with this first one, but we're really hopeful that it'll be popular and a success.
In Sioux Falls, Sarah McDonald, KELOLAND News.
The February 16th event will be from 1 to 6 p.m. We've included additional details on the pop-up grocery store with this story on our website. Sioux Falls business is showing that a few cents can create big change. Sioux Falls Food Co-op gives customers the option to round up their purchases to the nearest dollar, with proceeds benefiting local nonprofit organizations. The Big Change program got its start in 2017 and has generated more than $23,000.
Ever since we had our expansion and we were able to post those numbers on the board, that has brought more awareness to the program and it has helped those numbers increase each month.
Sioux Falls Food Co-op collected more than $1,000 in January for South Dakota Urban Indian Health. The Big Change recipient for February is Children's Inn in Sioux Falls. An organization dedicated to helping children needs some assistance of its own. KELOLAND's Travis Fossing tells us how you can help make a difference in the life of a child in foster care.
The East River Foster Parent Network is in search of volunteers.
The fact is we've grown. Our organization continues to grow. People continue to know who we are and what we do, which is wonderful. We continue to get donations, but now we need the hands and the feet to help us run this wonderful place that we've created.
Tessa Curry is the organization's teen advocate. Her favorite part of volunteering is helping families shop the clothing closet.
I love to see the kids come in and their faces to light up, and being able to pick out whatever they want is always such a wonderful opportunity for me personally.
I can't take them all into my house, so this is a way that I can continue to help the kids in our community that need help.
Tara Stow is a volunteer and knows there's no set schedule.
Kids don't just come into care 8 to 5. You're getting phone calls 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. Kids come into care all night long.
She's also a newcomer to fostering, receiving her first 2 kids last April.
This is a journey that I do not regret doing. It's something my husband and I always talked about doing. We've been married 25 years, and this last year, our hearts are honestly full.
Some of our volunteers are foster parents and they want to give back to a program that's benefited them. And others are people who can't foster but want to get involved.
The clothing closet would like to have 4 to 5 volunteers working each shift. Right now, that number is 1.
Our ideal number is about 35 volunteers a week, each serving 3 to 4 hours.
Curry says it's worth the time.
Oh, absolutely. Every day. Every single day.
In Sioux Falls, Travis Fossing, KELOLAND News.
If you are interested in volunteering at East River Foster Parent Network, we provided the link, including contact information, under the story on KELOLAND.com. Well, coming up next, it is a job that takes you to extreme heights. The locally produced movie that follows the journey of tower climbers and the dangerous jobs they do. Welcome back. A new feature film is set to premiere in Las Vegas in 2 weeks called Vertical Freedom. It was produced, directed, and shot by a Sioux Falls company over the past year and a half. As you're about to see, this film takes you to places where very few of us will ever get to go or ever want to.
Vertical Freedom is a story of 6 individuals that each of them are tower climbers, and that is their career and passion.
A passion not many of us could stomach. But Story Built Media of Sioux Falls had a gut feeling this film would be like no other, telling the story of what it's like to be a tower climber.
We take you with them. I mean, we're not just on the ground shooting up, oh, there's a little person up there. No. Our director of photography, Doug Lee, climbed with them. So when they're climbing up, he's already up there.
Hanging 1,000 to 2,000 feet in the air, you could say it is one of the highest paying jobs in America.
Every once in a while you just look down and go, holy cow, what am I doing up here?
Doug Lee, who has some experience with towers, did most of the climbing in order to get some of these incredible, breathtaking shots. He says knowing he had a job to do was a helpful distraction.
If I was just hanging out there, I think I'd be thinking about the height a lot more, but when you have something to do, and something you have to accomplish, you kind of have to just do your thing and not worry about the height.
For the climbers, their job is to repair cell phone towers.
You know, you see cell towers all over the place, but you don't really think about them. So we kind of knew that we wanted to highlight something, a career or a job that you may not even be aware. That was our initial goal.
You may call them crazy, but in the film, you'll see they're real people, just like you and I.
So we're all on our own climb, and we're sharing that climb with these climbers and seeing their lives. And we can all just very, very much relate to, you know, getting through something difficult and to get to the beauty on the other side.
So it's not just about them climbing, it's about them and their struggles and how they overcame things as well, and that's super powerful.
And I hear that it's a very emotional movie as well. If you'd like to watch the movie trailer in its entirety, we've attached a link to it under this story on our website. Well, thanks for joining us. That is all the time we have for today. Be sure to join us again next week for more on what's going on inside KELOLAND. I'm Don Jorgensen. Thanks for watching.